Good evening, everybody. Alan Zlotorzynzki for the Brevard Sports Network, and we really are restarting our youth football previews here at West Melbourne, and I'm here with Billy Palmer. And Billy, you do so many things here at West Melbourne, but what is your official title here?
I am the tackle director. I oversee all of tackle football. I am also a 10U assistant coach, but we kind of all help each other out here. It's not a one-man show at this place. It's a big community here.
Well, I tell you the thing that I love about this program is that obviously last year, COVID, you guys, I felt, made the right decision not to play last year. I thought that was an outstanding decision. But yet here we are for off-season workouts, and yet your numbers are back again. That has to speak to what Melbourne is, what West Melbourne is, and what it means to this community. Talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm 50-50 on the cancellation. I mean, obviously safety's number one.
Sure.
But we, our numbers are there like nothing ever happened. This program means so much. It's going to be our 50th season this year.
Wow.
So, I mean, the messages, phone calls, emails, when are we starting? What's going on? And we started this conditioning back, I believe, in March because people were so antsy. And it's voluntary, 70 to 80 kids.
Mm-hmm.
Got kids playing baseball. You got kids playing AAU basketball. And they're here.
And even when, and I mean, let's be honest here. If we're gonna speak truths here on Brevard Sports Network, even when other programs out there look to, I guess, take kids from programs, this is the program that's most sought after in terms of coming to find kids to play in other leagues.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, I hear Derek Smith say it all the time at Viera. I hear, Dan Burke used to say it.
Yeah.
Todd Wilson at Melbourne. I mean, ask any high school coach, and they're going to tell you, they want kids from West Melbourne because they're
Right.
hard-nosed, tough kids. And that's not a knock on anybody else.
No.
But you can tell which kids come from our program. They're disciplined. They're respectful. But they got a great work ethic. And, techniques and fundamentals are taught from the get-go.
But that comes from stability. And the stability in this program lies with its directors and its coaches. Talk a little bit about that.
You got, like I said, you got guys that are out here for more than just, their families and their kids. You got guys that are out here that have been out here forever. Unfortunately, Coach Jack did retire on us this year after about roughly 30 years. So Coach Dan Hunger is our longest tenured head coach now. I'll throw a nod for my father in there. He's about to hit his 27th year as an assistant coach. First time him and I haven't coached with Jack since 2010, so a little bit exciting. But, Jack always had a full staff of head coaches, so now we're all kind of branching off and helping the league better.
As I got to become familiar with Brevard County football over the last 6-7 years, the thing that always shocked me, because I didn't really start to jump into the youth scene until about 3-4 years ago, but the thing that always shocked me is when I looked at a kid like Ladarius Tennison, right, and everybody's like, where he played youth football, right, down at West Melbourne, or this student athlete or that student athlete. They're like, where he played youth football at? Down at West Melbourne. And it's what you hear all the time. And, it's funny because I hear from other programs. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, you get to the north part of the county, and a lot of programs up there are competing directly with one another in that area. But a lot of people in that area will tell you that the model of consistency and the model for which they strive to be in terms of championships and what they want their student athletes to be comes from right here.
Yeah, and I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. It's just the stability of this program, the community support. The kids got top-notch equipment. You got a great facility we have here.
How do you do it, though? Because, I mean, if we're speaking truth, obviously from a financial dynamic, you look at this county, and I think we know where the money lies in the county, and that's not knocking anybody. I'm not saying this one's rich or that one's rich, but it takes a little bit more effort in the south part of the county at times to raise the money necessary. How do you guys do it?
Well, I mean, what you'll see here at West Melbourne is you got a lot of guys that are entrepreneurs that own businesses that are either alumni or their kids played here. We got guys, that'll sponsor our golf tournaments, or, a team that, they haven't coached out here in 20 years, but, they still bleed that blue and white. That WM means something to them. It means something to this community, and, that's the support that, I think is unwavered.
Yeah, I totally agree. We're here with Billy Palmer, and 10U coach and tackle director here for West Melbourne Youth Football, and it's always an honor to come down here. And when I say it's an honor to come down here, it truly is, and it is why we try to come down here to preview and profile this program first, because certainly when you're looking at youth football programs in this county, this one right here sits at the top. Just a little bit about you, Billy. Look, you could coach. You could be a head football coach for any high school in this county. You can do whatever you want to do. You're a young guy. What does the future hold for you? I mean, literally, sometimes I ask myself, why isn't this guy out here being a head coach of a high school football team? Because you could be.
Well, I mean, obviously, I spent, 8.5 years at Melbourne. I'm still, involved in that program, but not to the capacity I'd like to be. I bleed green and white. I played there. Ultimately, that is a goal of mine, is to maybe not necessarily be a head coach, but get back into the high school ranks. That's where my heart is. I enjoyed it. But, this place has a special place, too. I played here, grew up here. Mm-hmm. My mom was a part of the first cheerleading team in the, late 60s flag. And, it's.
That's the other thing, too. The cheer here is remarkable. The cheer directors, your cheerleaders. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, our director right now is Amanda Moyer. She's doing a great job. She was actually the cheer director when I was a kid playing out here, and she came back out. That's, kind of what we talked about.
Right.
Sustain. She's doing a great job with our program right now. Those numbers are good, and, she came back out. I wouldn't say the program fell off, but get it back to where it needs to be.
Right. What about that Melbourne program? New head coach again this year, David Kintai. You and I have talked off the record. Do you believe after last year's, whatever you want to call last year, and I'm going to be on debacle, and that's what I'll call it, okay? Because I felt like that there were a lot of things that didn't go right for Melbourne last year. But I really like the way that they have landed back on their feet after last year. And I look at it as a one-year bump in the road.
Listen, I think Coach Kintai is doing a great thing. Obviously my well-documented pitch for Jeff Panucci was there. But that's no disrespect to Dave. I have a lot of respect for Dave. I talk to Dave all the time. I think he's going to do good things for our program. And, the big thing for them is keeping and attracting kids. The step there was Mel High was the JUCO for everybody else in town for a little bit. Hopefully they can get rid of that notation and, get back to Bulldog pride and get back to being the way they need to be.
I certainly think that they can. And look, when I say debacle, what I mean is with the COVID and bringing in a new coach. I mean, you had all of those dynamics last year that for not just Melbourne, but for a lot of programs that had new staffs last year, just simply couldn't get righted in a hurry. I mean, it was tough.
I mean, it is. And, Coach Martin's a great football coach. And, ultimately, Coach Martin wanted to be in the college level. So,
sure.
I can't sit here and say maybe he wasn't invested into it, but I think, his heart was at the college football level.
Right.
So, again, it's
and you're right. No fault to his. That's where he came from. He came from Florida Tech. Did a nice job over there with Coach Engelhardt as his offensive coordinator for 7 years. And, he wanted to be a college football head coach. The opportunity presented itself. And, look, he even took one of Melbourne's own and Tony Wright with him, to his.
And Tony Wright had a heck of a spring up there.
Yeah.
Obviously being a early freshman. I think Tony's going to be great. No, like I said, Coach Martin he's a great guy.
Yeah.
I've talked to him a couple times, and, from hanging out in the locker room a little bit last year, and the coach's always talking to him. Like I said, it wasn't a knock on him. The guy's heart wanted to be in the college level, and that's where he's at, and I think he's earned that.
And that's what, and I completely agree and second that. All right, as we get set to talk to some of the players, what can we look forward to this year from West Melbourne Youth Football? Can we look forward to the return to the Super Bowls and winning them?
Absolutely. Things are going to be a little different this year. The ACY league we play in affiliated themselves with AAU. Mm-hmm. We are the only AAU league other than Orlando in the state of Florida.
That's the Amateur Athletic Union.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So we're going to have a mega jamboree here on August 14th with 12 teams at this park on all 3 fields all day. We're going to have a Labor Day Classic with the Orlando League. We're going to kind of cross-play some games. And
Love it.
We're going to cross-play a regular season game. And then our playoff winners, Super Bowl winners, are going to go play their Super Bowl winners before a chance to go to Nationals.
I think it's fantastic. I think I've had an opportunity here recently from the volleyball standpoint to see the way that AAU does things. And whether you agree or disagree with a lot of the things that AAU does, the one thing that you cannot take away from them is the fact that they're very organized. And I tell you what, they've got a system in place. They stick to it. And I'm looking forward to see how it turns out for you guys this year.
Like I said, I think it's going to be great. Chris St. John from AAU, the Orlando League, has been great in helping us get going. Again, it's our 50th season, so big things are going to happen out here that people will see over the years. We're going to have hopefully a building naming here soon. I won't disclose whose name that's going to be.
Okay.
We just named the field and stuff after the Kingeries, which their name was on the original park that got torn down. Mm-hmm. They've done so much for this program over the years, and anybody that knows West Melbourne knows who they are. Then we got another building naming going on over there, so we got some big things planned. A lot of guys that have been out here tirelessly that just don't have kids in the program. But like I said, that this means a lot to them in our community. Well,
Billy, we certainly appreciate you taking time here on the Brevard Sports Network. And obviously we'll be down here as much as we can this year. When you rename these buildings and all, we'd love to be able to show it. Billy Palmer, thank you so much.
Appreciate you, sir.
All right, we'll be back here in a minute with some of the actual players for West Melbourne Youth Football. All right, welcome back here. And it's always an honor and pleasure to talk to Billy Palmer. But this is my favorite part of what we're doing now, where we get an opportunity to talk to some of the student athletes that actually participate in the program. And I'm going to have these young men introduce themselves. Tell me who you are.
My name is Terrance Jones. People call me LT.
All right, LT. And what team do you play for?
West Melbourne.
And what age group?
10U.
All right. And what's your name?
My name is Zaden Alexander, but people call me Z6 or Zay.
All right. Let's start with you. What do people call you?
Z6 or Zay.
All right, Z6. Let's start with you. What position do you play?
I play running back.
And do you guys play on the same team together?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about playing running back, and why do you love football so much?
Because when I was growing up, I saw my dad just playing football, and so I just wanted to join, so that's all.
What's your favorite part about playing the game?
When I get the ball, I stiff arm people, and I make good yards.
You know what? That's cool. You said when you get the ball and you stiff arm people and you make the yards. I think that's awesome. What position do you play?
I play running back and defensive end.
And defensive end. Out of the two positions that you play, which one is your favorite?
Defensive end.
Why do you like playing defensive end so much?
Because I like to hit people.
And that is the answer that just absolutely gets my blood pumping. I like to hit people. All right, guys, let's talk a little bit about West Melbourne. What do you like about playing for West Melbourne, LT?
That they're not gonna just hog the ball. Like when we have a play that we run, we'll run an option. The quarterback will share the ball with us so we can get yards or score.
So everybody can touch the ball here.
Yes.
You like that? How about you, Z? Z6? What do you like about playing in West Melbourne?
They give you good blocks and you make yards, and that's the point. And quarterback, he's a really good thrower. Handoffs are good.
There you go. I think offensively speaking, West Melbourne's got it dialed in at the 10U level. Who's your favorite NFL team? You got a favorite team, favorite football team? Who is it?
Tampa.
All right. Who's your Tampa? Caleb will like that answer. That's that guy sitting behind the camera there. Who's your favorite player on Tampa? Do you have one?
I forgot his name, but his number was 28.
28. Okay. Who is that? All right. Okay. Do you have a favorite team?
The Chiefs.
The Chiefs. There they go. Right. The Chiefs in the book. You got a favorite player?
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill. There you go. Can't argue with Tyreek Hill. Look, if there were one thing you wanted everybody to know about your team, what would that one thing be?
Is how we hit.
You like the way you hit. Who's your coach?
His name is Coach Durfus, and my assistant coach is Coach Billy.
And where does your love for football come from?
From my dad. Like, when I first started football, flag football, started running back, having fun running, scoring, taking flags. Yeah, I just love it.
So how did you get the nickname LT? Because
my dad's name is Terrance, and I stand for Little Terrance.
I got you. Okay. And how about you? If you could tell us just one thing about West Melbourne football, what would that one thing be?
I got good runs, stiff arm.
He's got good runs and stiff arm. Guys, I tell you what, I'm excited to watch you play. What are you looking forward to the most about the upcoming season this year?
Just all I'm gonna do is just give him my all in, and I'm gonna do what I got to do.
Give his all, and what are you looking forward to the most?
Hitting people.
That's my man right there. He likes to hit people. LT. All right, guys, before we go, I call you guys student athletes for a reason, because the classroom is important. Where do you go to school?
Meadow Lane Intermediate.
All right. And what's your favorite subject in school?
Math.
And how do you do in school?
Good. Straight A's.
My man, put it there. Straight A's. How about you? Where you go to school?
I go to Crowan Elementary.
Okay. All right. What's your favorite subject in school?
Reading.
Reading. How you do in school? You do good?
Yeah.
There you go. And it's so important to do good in school. Straight A's right here. My man is knocking it down in the books. Loves the math. This young man right here loves to read. He loves to hit people. He loves to stiff arm people. That's Melbourne. That's West Melbourne. That's what they do here. What's your name one more time?
Terrance Jones Jr., and people call me LT.
How about you?
Zaden Alexander. People call me Z6.
For LT and Z6, I'm AZ for BSN. All right, we continue here at it's West Melbourne Youth Football Night and cheer as well. Although we don't have any cheerleaders, it is West Melbourne Youth Football Night, and it's always great to be down here. I am here with a 14U player, and I'm like we did with 10U. I'm going to have him introduce himself, tell us a little bit about him. So, young man, what's your name?
Antonio Hunter. People call me AJ.
All right, AJ, you play 14U. What position you play?
Running back and linebacker.
You are a big running back, man. Let me tell you something. They didn't make running backs your size. Well, what do you love most about football?
It keeps you away from doing bad stuff.
I like that. Now it keeps you focused and keeps your mind. Yeah, I think that's a great answer, and it's an honest answer, and that's what I like. What about the game itself? When you're on that field, what gives you the most pleasure or satisfaction out there? What do you like to do when you're on that football field?
Hitting people and winning.
Hitting people and winning. That's the West Melbourne mentality. When Billy Palmer said that you hear, high school football coaches say it all the time in the area, they love the kids from West Melbourne. That's why, because you haven't heard one of these kids say scoring a touchdown. What you've heard them say is hitting, stiff arming, and winning. And I think that is the character that embodies West Melbourne. Tell me a little bit about your team. Who's your coach?
My coach is Coach Hoff.
What do you like? What do you like? What do you like about your team?
We're all for each other. We never go separate, and that we always follow what we got to do.
Now you're getting to that age where do you go to school?
Central Middle School.
All right. Now you're getting at that age where, you know what? You're going to have to start thinking about high school and beyond, and it gets tougher and tougher and tougher moving up the ladder. What have you found to be the biggest adjustment for you moving from league to league? Like when you go from 10 to 12 and 12 to 14, what's been the biggest adjustment you've had to make?
I have to say the fundamentals.
The fundamentals get a little tougher, and
yes.
Speed picks up a little bit more.
Yes.
Did you play last year?
Yes.
Where'd you play last year?
Palm Bay Rockets.
Gotcha. Okay. But yet here you are back at West Melbourne. What do you like about this program? If somebody was out there and they wanted to play youth football, what would you tell them? Why would you tell them to come play for West Melbourne?
Because they're all about the kids.
All about, and I think that's a phenomenal answer. And I think you're doing a great job on this interview. All right, so we know where you go to school. Tell us about what your favorite subject is.
Math.
Okay. And do you do good in school?
Yes.
And where right now would you be going to high school?
Heritage.
Mark Ainsley's going to get another good one. And I tell you what, Heritage is definitely building for the future there. Before we finish up the interview, is there a play or two that you have made that sticks out in your mind? What's your most special memory about playing for West Melbourne?
I have to say, I went to my first Super Bowl.
How was that? Was that fun? Did you guys win?
It was fun, but we sadly lost.
That's okay, but at least you got there. You got the experience from it. When you look around this room and people are seeing it on the screen, and you see all of these trophies, what does that motivate you?
Yes.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about you and your family. What do you like to do for fun when you're not playing football, when you're not in school? What do you do for fun?
I usually play with my dog.
Yeah? What kind of dog you got?
Pit Bull Terrier.
Okay. And what's the dog's name?
I call him King.
There you go. I like that. And do you do anything like I know you're playing with you, but eventually the dog gets tired. What do you do? What else do you do?
I usually go find people to play football with or go to the basketball court.
Gotcha. Do you play any other sports besides football?
No.
Just football is your concentration and focus, and you're here for the off-season workouts. Excuse me. If you could tell everybody out there, and you only get to tell them one thing about playing for West Melbourne, what is that one thing?
You will learn a lot of things, and you will go very, very far.
You will learn a lot of things, and you'll go very, very far. Well said. Tell everybody what your name is again.
Antonio Hunter, nickname AJ.
There you go. And I'm Alan Zlotorzynzki right here on the Brevard Sports Network. Watch out for that 14U team this year. It's always good to get a parent's perspective. We can talk to the coaches, we can talk to the players, and they're going to love the program because they're actually here coaching and playing in it. But we want to talk to a parent, and I felt like this gentleman sitting here to my right, Mr. Terrance Jones. Yes, Terrance, I will talk to your son a little bit earlier, LT. So why did you choose West Melbourne for LT to come play?
Well, we actually came out when he started playing flag, and once he developed a bond with a lot of these kids out here and friends, I kind of let him pick where he wanted to play at, and he chose here, and we've been here ever since. That's
impressive that, a lot of times kids can be swayed, and, it doesn't really matter why. The point is he's here, he loves it, and what I thought was really neat was that he's here for the right reasons because he loves his coaches, he loves his teammates.
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about the camaraderie that exists in this program because the parents seem to get along. Now, I know that every family's going to have their riffs, okay?
Yes.
I get that. My kids should be playing. We get that everywhere. But what is it that makes West Melbourne so special? What have you seen?
For me, it's just, the coaching, the actual teaching these kids how to actually play the game of football, and just a lot of leadership here, which I love. So.
Well, yeah, leadership is important because you're a coach yourself.
I am a coach.
Coach basketball.
I do coach basketball.
And so I know it's hard for a coach that has a student athlete that plays to kind of release them out into the world of other coaches, but you seem to be comfortable with who he's learning from.
So I do coach him in basketball, but I'm very comfortable with him being here, learning from these guys. So.
That's important because a lot of times when parents aren't comfortable, they jump right in and want to be helpers or, and I think that's critical. If for those out there that may be on the fence about where they want to play youth football, and while I know a lot of registration is closed, but they do have late, what would be one thing that you would tell everybody why their kids should come down here and play at West Melbourne?
I would definitely have to say it's very organized, works with my work schedule, for one. And like I say, it's just big family here.
And I think that pretty much wraps it up, from Billy Palmer to one of the parents here, Mr. Terrance Jones, to his son LT, to AJ, to Z6, to all of the West Melbourne youth football and cheer organization. It's a quality place. The stability is incredible. 50 years this year. So for Billy Palmer, for the players, for Mr. Terrance Jones, I'm Alan Zlotorzynzki for the Brevard Sports Network.
Today, it's about teamwork. It's about working hard. It's about having that discipline. It's about having that faith that you can accomplish anything that you want to accomplish.